Well, I've been talking for a little while about how AI is coming into various industries and wiping out job markets. And there's been no shortage of CEOs coming out and saying, hey, AI is going to take your job. And, there are a lot of people that get in my comments and say, Jacob, my industry's fine. Well, I have some news for you. I'm starting to see more and more CEOs come out on the news and warn you that, hey, we're going to adopt this thing and it's going to come fast and it's going to come hard, and even talking about the benefits to them, of course. But in the latest parade of CEOs, we now have Andy Jassy, CEO of Amazon, the big e-commerce website we all like to buy our goodies from, right, kids? So he sent out an email statement earlier this week where he talked about how AI is going to come in and benefit the company, but just sort of on the side. Oh, and by the way, all these jobs are going away. But more importantly, I have a video that I want to show you from CNBC, which I'm not a huge fan of that news outlet, but they had somebody on there that actually was the first person that I ever heard utter the words universal basic income, which is often mentioned as a way to band-aid all the jobs being eliminated and just give everybody $1,000 a month, let's say. But, if everybody has $1,000, nobody has $1,000. That's how inflation works, kids. So I want to show you this video here of I want to show you this video here of Andrew Yang being interviewed by CNBC, and he's going to talk about when he first started mentioning AI coming on board. This is 5 years ago during his presidential campaign in 2020. It was the first time I ever heard anybody utter universal basic income because AI. And even he is totally shocked at how fast the AI revolution's coming. But let's watch this video real quick, and I'll comment along the way.
Andy Jassy says artificial intelligence will lead to a reduction of its corporate workforce eventually over the next few years. He wrote in a memo to employees that they should figure out, in his words, how to get more done with scrappier teams. That's nice. Joining us now, former Democratic President.
I don't know if you heard that. Did you hear somebody mention under his breath utter? It's very quiet. He said, "Oh, that's nice." But see, this is you're going to see the parade of CEOs after CEO coming out and saying AI's coming. We're going to adopt it, and don't get it twisted. All these CEOs, they know each other. They've been talking about this behind the scenes with each other because they know politicians and the state is absolutely unprepared for what is coming. And so they're all coming out on the news, and all this is planned. All these statements are completely scripted, but they may come across like they're just, oh, I'm just this nice CEO coming out and I just want to tell you these things. Because don't forget, a CEO's job first is always to increase shareholder value. So they're thinking in terms of themselves first. All right. So I just want to point that out. But again, the way Andy Jassy did this, I thought was pretty crappy. We had a couple weeks ago, we had the CEO of Anthropic, who builds Claude, which is another answer to ChatGPT. I thought his statement was actually pretty good, but still, all this, don't get it twisted. This is all the CEOs covering their own butts because they know there's going to be mass layoffs. The state's not going to not be ready to handle it. And they don't want to be on the hook for paying for training employees or any kind of laws or regulations are going to come down the road because they can go, see, we warned everybody. We warned everybody this was coming. That's all this is. But let's continue further on here with Andy Jassy's statement and then the interview with Andrew Yang. This is really important. I want you to pay close attention to what's being said.
Presidential candidate Andrew Yang, it's a daunting future we have, Mr. Yang, obviously. And you've been, I was at was it a book party that I attended for you?
A book event.
6 years ago, talking about this on the horizon and the need for maybe even back then universal basic income. I guess at this point you're thinking, wow, it's accelerating faster than you even thought.
Yeah, it's here even faster than I'd imagined back in 2019 and 2020. And I talked to CEOs who are replacing thousands of customer service workers with AI, entire design departments, even coders are being supplanted. And Becky and I were just talking about how we used to tell our kids, hey, if you major in computer science, you'll be good to go. And now those graduates are having a hard time finding jobs. It's starting to appear.
So this is what I've been talking about on the channel since I started it back in October, that there's going to be a sandwiching effect where jobs at the entry level are going to go away first, but we're also going to see white collar jobs start to peel away. We've already got to that point to where entry level jobs are starting to fall off very quickly. Even like the basic Amazon picking jobs is going to go away. I'll do another video on that, but I'll put a thumbnail up of a video I did where the death of low entry jobs, or I'm sorry, low skill jobs, where I talk about that. The great squishing, I think I called it, or sandwiching. My terminology evolved on it a little bit, but the idea is that the two layers will peel around the middle. So you're going to have basically an engineering class or a class of people that do all the work using AI of all the people they got rid of. So it's not like coding will go away like he's talking about here per se. It'll just be a coder can do the work of 100 coders, really. So that's what we're seeing right now. But it's going to accelerate more, and we're going to see that hockey stick effect. We're already like past the elbow, I think. And I've talked about my job. I was a software developer for 25 years, and I got laid off back in March 2024, not due to AI. But market conditions. But in the year and a half almost now that I've been out of software engineering, I've seen massive improvements in AI, and I'm working on my AI game characters or my AI live stream characters that you can interact with, and also the AI games that I've been mentioning, which I haven't revealed yet. I'm doing a ton of AI to program those, to design the interface. A lot of things that I just couldn't do. And in fact, there was a language that I didn't even know existed until last week that I started using AI to help me write to tie OBS, the streaming platform I'm using to record this video and I live stream, to connect to my AI characters. So, I mean, it's incredible technology, but man, if you think your job is okay, it's only a matter of time. AI is going to touch everything. Even trades. And I have a video coming up on that, but I squirreled. I'm sorry I do that. But let's get back to Andrew.
Here in the numbers for recent college graduates and entry-level white-collar work.
If you're a science fiction believer, I was going to ask you whether the whole Luddite chorus that we've heard for 150 years, that it's never actually it's always been better technology long term. Maybe not always, but many times even more jobs are created from the technologies that being displaced, whether it's internal combustion engines or whatever you want to look at. You would argue this time is different with AI, and then it's not. I mean, then if you, like I said, science fiction, not just displacing us from work, but maybe just displacing us altogether.
Okay, so what he's getting at, he's not getting the words out, but what he's trying to describe is that we had the Industrial Revolution, which displaced farmers and farm workers on large numbers, but the technology ended up creating completely new jobs that require completely new skills. And I've talked a lot about this. I'll put another thumbnail up of another video. I think it was called Why Progress Feels Like Chaos. And there's a technology cycle that happens. And what he's trying to get at is what's different this time is that there will be no new jobs created. I am hearing this in circles. I am not in that camp. I think new skills will be created because the level of complexity that your average person will be able to accomplish with AI is unheard of, unprecedented. And so we don't know what kinds of jobs or skills we'll need and when they will come. And there'll be short-term pain. I talk about that where everybody's going to lose their jobs or get displaced by AI. But I'm in the camp where I think long-term, there'll be completely new skills that will come back, that will be, or not come back, but will be created that we have absolutely no concept of what they're going to be. So I'm a little more optimistic than most folks, but he's probably more in the doom and gloom camp. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to ask you, if you got this far in the video, please like and subscribe. If you like this content, comment below. Also, you might want to pick up my copy of 50 Prompts That Make You Superhuman. It's pay what you want. Link is in the description below. All this AI stuff is taking off really quick and you want to get ahead. Also, every Saturday at 7 p.m. MST, I go live and I play with AI in real time. And I also launch AI characters that you can interact with during the live chat. All right, let's get back to it. Also too, the other thing with the Industrial Revolution I want to point out is that this guy's trying to say here, maybe Andrew will get to eventually, is that the Industrial Revolution really only, I think it was 125, about 150 years, depending on who you talk to, how long it took for it to really get into the level of effect that it had that we live under today, how we understand and how we look at it, more of a romantic view of what it was. It happened quickly. 125 years back then was actually fast. The way technology, because you have people doing skills for hundreds and hundreds of years. Blacksmithing didn't really change much. Leatherworking, woodworking, textiles, the way those things were done barely changed at all for hundreds and hundreds of years. And then, over a course of 125 years, now a lot of that's automated. So just something to keep in mind. But with this cycle, they're calling it the fourth industrial revolution because there's been 3 prior ones. Maybe I'll get into that in another video. But basically, it's the idea of automating everything with mechanical things. And now we're throwing AI into the mechanical machines or robots. And you'll often hear this referred to as physical AI. All right, let's get back to the video.
100 years from now.
We have to take a lot of those science fiction style scenarios very seriously, Joe, in my opinion. And the most common job in 29 states is still being a truck driver. You have robot trucks just now hitting the highways.
They'll be gone.
Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, said, look, we're going to automate away a lot of the entry-level white-collar jobs. And he's right, because I talked to executives at these companies who are doing exactly what Andy Jassy is talking about on Amazon, looking around saying, hey, guys, instead of hiring a bunch of 22-year-olds, maybe we should have AI do that work. So I fear.
So again, this is, the entry-level jobs aren't just being wiped off the board. This will be a class of jobs that won't exist anymore. So, me growing up, Gen X, you went and got that job at McDonald's and you got the exposure to learn, I'll have to be somewhere at a certain time, get told to do, grody things that I don't want to do and go through that experience of having crappy bosses and learning how to communicate with people and resolve conflict. Although I didn't really learn that at McDonald's, but the idea is that you're learning how to work in an environment with other people and accomplish a common goal. And a lot of those entry-level jobs, that's where you learn that. And they're not really saying it specifically, but this is what I'm inferring, is that entry-level jobs in general across the board, especially if you're doing something where you're just sitting in front of a computer, those will be gone. So let's continue on.
For the next generation, because all of the experience that maybe we got in our 20s and 30s, there might not be that kind of ladder available to them.
Look, Andy Jassy said that he wants employees to kind of take advantage and learn how to use AI, learn how to do their jobs better, maybe make things.
Okay, so this is the get out of jail free card. What a lot of these CEOs are doing, this is the common thread when they come out on the news and say, yeah, we're gonna use AI, so they get their investors and shareholders excited, but then they're telling all the future girlfriends are going to break up with via text, which is what Andy Jassy's letter is basically just a ghosting of future employees and current employees. Oh, you better learn AI, but we're not going to teach you, but you better learn how to use it. So it's just kind of this wishy-washy way that they try and, scrape responsibility off the chessboard. But I think it's eventually going to come back and bite everybody in the butt. It's my personal opinion.
It's easier. Maybe it takes care of some of the grunt level work you don't like doing, but it allows you to have more space and room to do things creatively. Should we be afraid of that?
Well, what this means in real life, Becky, is you have a department of 6 people, let's say coders or designers, and then you end up eliminating 4 or 5 of them, and then there's one designer coder empowered by AI. So there's going to be a beneficiary in the organization, but you're just not going to need as many people in that department, and that's
what I was talking about earlier. The jobs will still be around, but you'll have one person do what was formerly the job of 100 people. And it's the same thing with the tractor. You had, or let's say, what do they call that thing that goes through the weed or the wheat and corn fields and does all the harvest? I guess they're harvesters. You just have one guy sitting there going like this, and he doesn't even hold the wheel. He just kind of watches the GPS while he does it. And it's air conditioned. That used to take hundreds of people to do that. Now one person can basically harvest several hundred acres. So that's the same effect that these AI tools are going to have in the workplace.
That's going to play out over and over again.
Pope had some interesting things, and he's getting involved. Last Pope was big on climate change. This might be important. And he says the worlds of science and politics need to immediately tackle this problem without allowing scientific progress to advance with arrogance, harming those who have to submit to power. And he's going to host a lot of people. But right now it's just breakneck. There's no governors on what's happening whatsoever.
The state is completely unprepared for what's coming. And like I said earlier, the CEOs that are coming out, you'll see a whole new parade of more CEOs come out and do this. We're warning you, and but we're not going to help you kind of thing. And then you're also going to start to see the rise of solopreneurs, people that are basically building their own company where they have the AIs that do the marketing, the business planning, you name it. All the stuff that was pushing bits on the computer that were people sitting in a room. Maybe I could do a video on this, but I believe it's Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk. I think that's who's got this bet where they've secretly told each other when they think the first $1 billion solopreneur company will happen, and I think it's going to happen soon. We'll keep an eye on that.
I mean, if you think about the incentives of the individual firm, it's just to go as fast as possible because there's like a bit of an arms race in terms of compute.
Literally.
And the data and the model. Literally. And then they'll look up and say, our competitor is China, so I got to go. The question is what happens to people? And I'm someone who, I'm not anti-progress, anti-innovation. I think all of that stuff is very positive. But you have to be clear-eyed about the impact on people, on organizations, on workers. And in my estimation, this fourth industrial revolution is the most dramatic thing that's happened to our society in history. AI might be the most radical breakthrough in human history. And so we have to think.
That is not a boast. That is not a boast. So again, you mentioned the fourth industrial revolution. So that's putting the AI into all the automated systems. That's all that really means. So you'll hear physical AI, like I mentioned earlier, but also agents. I don't know if they'll talk about agents here, but basically that's more the digital equivalent of autonomous, lots of little AIs working together in concert for a larger goal. It's basically what that is. But that term agent is abused, but anyway, moving on.
Much bigger.
That allows more spare time, that allows people to, we become so rich from AI that maybe you can do UBI and not everyone has to work 5 days. You gave me a thumbs up. Is that the answer for you?
To me, that is the answer. The question is, how do we get from point A to point B? Because right now, the beneficiaries of AI are going to be a small handful of firms, and then the average 22-year-old or truck driver or whatnot is going to be just looking around saying, where did my job go? And they're not going to be experiencing that kind of value.
it's not going to be where did my job go? It's how am I ever going to get one? Because again, entry level jobs are going to be, it's just going to be a class of jobs that just won't be there. I'm like, even look at, I have a video coming up where I'm going to show you what's happening in fast food and low skilled jobs. The amount of automation that's coming, they're just not going to be there.
That to me is what government and politics are for. That's what got me into the Democratic race in 2020. Unfortunately, right now, our political class is very, very far away from these problems. And one of our goals should be to try and bring them together, the way the Pope's describing.
All right, so what do you think of the...
You know it's bad, because I read a statement earlier, when the Pope's getting involved. If he's worried, he's out the Vatican praying about AI. That's not good.
You call it a rider, but the initiative that's trying to be pushed into the budget bill, the one big beautiful bill right now that has made it through the House version. We don't know what's going to happen with the Senate entirely because of the bird.
That chick in the back, she I just got fired by AI. So shaking her hands.
Rules and others, but it's a move to say state attorney generals, other states have no way of setting any rules or guidelines or laws around AI, that it should be only allowed at a federal level.
Okay, so real quick, this is another argument you'll see floating around is because of state sovereignty. This is a big problem in the States. I don't really know what would happen in the EU. Probably more that it's at the country level, which, I guess a similar kind of structure. Each country's like a state in the EU. But some states are stepping up and trying to do regulation, and it makes shuffling data back and forth much more complicated. But we have privacy laws, which are good, HIPAA, where you can't reveal the identity of people. Things like that are good. But there's a lot of regulations going to make it difficult to grow AI. There's a ton of investment in, there's like massive data centers being built right now. That was the Stargate project is one that Trump mentioned, the $500 billion investment that OpenAI is involved in, and some other big companies. I can talk more about that. But this reminds me a lot of the early days of the internet, where Congress stepped in and said, we don't know what the heck this thing's going to do. So instead of like stepping in now and taxing and regulating it, we're just going to step back for 10 years and don't take it as like, oh, the government finally is like doing something nice for everybody. It's just that they saw such a massive opportunity to generate money and get their hands in behind the scenes with lobbyists and all kinds of other stuff, that they're like, yeah, let's just let it roll and we'll all get rich. That's really what that is. So this is the same thing here.
By the way, there are backers, a lot of the big AI names that are backing and kind of lobbying for that.
Oh, certainly if you're an AI company, the last thing you want is a hodgepodge of state rules that you then have to navigate or run afoul of. And a lot of these fronts, including social media, by the way, what you see is a federal hands-off approach, and then the states at some point step up and say, you know what, I don't love this treatment.
Yeah, I love the hands-off approach where DARPA gave censorship tools that are heavily based on AI to all the social media companies and news outlets, and basically control the narrative all during the pandemic. So I have a video on that too. But anyway, no, we don't regulate you, but we are watching you.
Of customer data, they're trying to avoid that in AI. If you're going to have that, then you would need a buttoned up, sensible approach from the federal government.
Guidelines before you.
Yes, exactly. But the incentives for the corporates will be, let us do whatever we want. And then even for the individual legislators, it'll be like, oh, do I want to mess with the AI guys? Not really. So you're going to end up with a Wild West approach.
What do you hear? You say that you talk to CEOs who are talking about all the people they're getting rid of, jobs that they're replacing with AI.
They talk to each other, like I said. They all know each other.
What do you say to them? What's your approach to say, hey, this may not be great in the long term?
I say come clean. I say and by the way, Andy Jassy making those public statements, Dario Amodei making those public statements, they're signaling to us, guys, we are going to be getting rid of a lot of workers. We're going to get leaner and meaner. So please, if you're in government, do something about it, because their responsibility is not society-wide. Their responsibility is just to make their organization
responsibilities to shareholders. Money, money, money. Come on, man.
Successful. And those interests are going to diverge from the average workers pretty sharply. It used to be when you guys saw a company increase headcount, you'd say, okay, good, they're growing, they're healthy. Increasingly, headcount is going to be a bad sign. And you're going to look at them and say, wait a minute, what are you guys doing wrong?
It's always been the case on Wall Street, though. I think back 20 years and even longer than that, where you talk about on the floor how they're laying people off.
They do, yeah. There's a bump when there's a cutback in workers, but you can take that and dial it up to 11.
So there you have it. We're going to have a much longer parade of CEOs coming out and doing a CYA statement, warning everybody that you're going to get laid off as we adopt AI, because the politicians, they're not ready. And quite frankly, the state always reacts, right? They're very, very rarely do they look ahead or they plan ahead. So anyway, if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. And until the next one, peace.